Welcome. So, good afternoon. My name is Österlund. I work as a product director for marketing products at data and analytics company Bisnode. And also thanks, JP, for letting me have the clicker. So we're going to talk about sales and about data and how to use data to increase sales. So in order to do this, I will be talking about a concept called people-based marketing and how that's different from media-driven marketing. I'll talk a bit about the data you already have in your databases, in your systems, in your stores. I'll talk about connecting online and offline, and I'll end up with a customer case showing how to do this in practice. So first, our company at a glance, we're a data and analytics company. We work in two different areas. Marketing, which are kind of the products we have in order to help you increase sales, and risk and credit, which means kind of services to make sure that you actually get paid. We're going to be focusing on marketing today. Bisnode operates in 19 countries, headquarters in Stockholm, roughly 2,000 people. So that being said, let's get into the actual subject of today. And I want to start off with a car, actually a Ferrari. And now you need to do a little bit of a role play with me, because we're going to role play that we've been given the assignment to sell Ferraris. I know it's not the typical e-commerce item, but it's a very good example for how to use data in sales. So we're now tasked with selling Ferraris. And we're going to look at this from two different points of view. We're going to look at how we'd approach this with a traditional media-driven mindset, and how we would approach this with a people-based mindset. So if we look at this from the media-driven mindset, we'd start by asking ourselves, all right, so in order to sell Ferraris, we need to reach the Ferrari buyers. So what kind of people buy Ferraris? And doing a little bit of an intellectual exercise, we might end up saying, probably people who like fast cars and who have money, because Ferraris are expensive. I can't afford one. Probably many of you can't either. So kind of let's just conclude that in order to buy a Ferrari, you need some means and you need an active interest. So now when we want to reach these Ferrari buyers, we might place kind of an advertisement in a magazine called, for example, the sports car enthusiast. Then we'd reach people who have an interest in these type of vehicles. Then we might place another ad in a magazine called, let's say, Billionaire Weekly, to reach people who have the means to buy expensive cars. But then we end up with a little bit of a problem here. Most of the people who like sports cars actually will never end up buying a sports car, at least not a new Ferrari. And most people who have a bunch of money aren't interested in buying a Ferrari, at least right now. They might never want to buy a Ferrari. So this means that we're going to waste a lot of the money we've spent advertising in order to reach our customers. And that's not fun, because we'd much rather get a good bang for the buck when we spend money on marketing. So that's where the people-based mindset comes in. So instead of thinking about this in terms of where can we find the customers, let's first think of who are the actual customers. Look for kind of data provided to us in order to identify which are the people who kind of have an interest in sports cars and have the means to buy a sports car. And then let's use kind of direct channels to target only those people. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like this. So when we do people-based marketing campaigns, when we do this in a data-driven way, we usually start off with the three different sources. We have kind of a customer's data. For example, the people who kind of have previously bought Ferraris. We have some online behavioral data, such as those provided to us by different media outlets, which we can use for advertising. And then we have third-party data, which Bisnode has a lot of. We operate on a database of almost 200 million consumers in Europe, which means that there's quite a lot of raw material to look at. We bring this data together, We apply some advanced analytics on it. Our data scientists go nuts with the data in order to find specifics on why did these people buy a sports car, or actually which type of people are the most likely ones to buy a sports car, and how can we identify them. Once we end up with a good model helping us identify these sports car enthusiasts with the means to buy one, we create target audiences similar to them, meaning kind of lists of people who are very, very likely to buy. And because these are identified people with kind of actual names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, whatever, we have a very easy time kind of targeting advertising to them and to them only, which means that when we then kind of actually send out our advertisements on social media like Facebook and Instagram, or actually end up calling them or sending them postcards or whatever we choose to do, we spend our money on the people who are our most likely buyers and thus get a better bang for the buck. And now kind of you might be thinking, if you're thinking ahead a little bit, that hey, Per, this sounds interesting, this sounds compelling. I would kind of like to buy into this, but does this really work? Yeah? How can you make sure this really works? And I'm glad you asked, because I asked the same question to our team and asked them, do you have data to prove that our data works? They said, yes, we do, and provided me with this graph. The way to read this graph is that kind of on the x-axis, we see kind of a percentage of a total audience reached, and on the y-axis, a percentage of actual buyers reached. So traditional context-based marketing is fairly linear. So if we want to reach 10% of our buyers, we need to reach 10% of the total audience. For example, if we want to reach 10% of our prospective buyers in Finland, we will need to reach 10% of Finns. And so if we want to reach 100% of our buyers, well, we would need to reach 100% of the population, and that's really expensive. So we looked at what happened when we infused our customers' campaigns with our data and did A/B testing with kind of data-driven campaigns versus non-data-driven campaigns, and concluded that if we look at results on the 10% marker, we see an uplift of 420%. So this means that by reaching 10% of the total audience, we did not reach just 10% of the buyers, we reached 42% of the buyers. And these were now averages from 25 different campaigns across 8 different industries. So there shouldn't be that much bias behind. And now you might be thinking about what type of data drives this type of uplift, because I guess we'd all be happy getting a 420% uplift in our campaigns, right? The type of data we use falls into 3 different categories. We work with socio-demographic data, talking about kind of which type of people we are, with lifestyle data, like personas, kind of media, what do you call it? Media consumption patterns, etc., and on actual behavioral data, meaning kind of what you have previously done, which gives good indications on what you are going to do next. So this is a bit about our data, but it's actually your data that makes this whole thing interesting, because all of you sit on such a treasure pile already. So much good data. And when I go out and talk to our customers, I'm asking them, so why aren't you using that treasure chest that you're sitting on? And the answer is usually some variant of this. Well, we have data in our CRM system, in our marketing automation system, in our newsletter system, in our e-commerce platform, in our fulfillment system, and just go on and on and on. In a large company, you can end up with a list of 100+ different systems where the customer data is spread out. So this poses a huge challenge. How do we combine this data? If we take me as an example, if I'm your customer, your CRM system might have information that Per is a customer, and then it might have my address. Your ERP might have my name and my phone number. your marketing automation might have my name and my email address. And then you start looking at this like, well, is this the same pair or not? We can't really combine it if we're not sure. But if we can't combine it, and Per comes knocking on the door asking to see what data you have that's kind of representing me, how can we show it if we haven't combined it and know it's the same person? So it's like, if we want the benefits, we need to be able to combine it. If we want the compliance, we also need to be able to combine it. And if we don't have kind of shared data elements across all of these systems, we really can't. And this is where kind of having a huge referential database comes in handy, because it gives an unfair advantage. We sit on a database which includes Per's name and address and phone number and blah, 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 lots and lots of data elements, which means that the way we can help solve this problem is by kind of just having a identity concept. So kind of a ID that you can use in all systems. So this means that if you kind of send a call out from the CRM and say, hey, here's what I know about Per in my database, give me an ID. You get an ID. Then you send out a request from your ERP system saying, this is what I know about Per, give me an ID. You get an ID. And then it's the same ID, kind of not depending on which system and which data elements you use to ask for the ID. And when you have the same ID for all the instances of Per that you've kind of spread out across all the 100+ systems in your company, then it becomes so much easier, because it's only the technical challenge of kind of getting the data together. But when you actually extract the data, you can connect all of it together because it has shared IDs. So this is the type of housekeeping that's usually needed in order to make the treasure chest of data already in your company available, so that you can start utilizing it in order to be able to do better analytics, have better customer segments, and thus target only the people who are kind of both interested and able to buy your products, instead of trying to reach a much, much broader audience with many non-customers in it that aren't actually kind of going to give you a return on investment. So looking at an example of where we actually did this, I'm going to give you the example of NetOnNet, a big e-commerce retailer in Sweden. And it just so happens that this guy on the picture here, who's responsible for NetOnNet's e-commerce operations, is also called Per. So we both share a name and an active interest towards selling stuff online. So NetOnNet's starting point, they have a customer club, like a loyalty club. They do a lot of email marketing towards their loyalty club. They used to do the same type of email marketing for everyone. So, if they sell TVs, they just kind of send out offers for TVs. What we did with NetOnNet was we kind of helped them identify the consumers they had in all the different systems. We got the data together. We enriched it with our data from our referential database, and we let our data scientists create kind of customer segments based on what type of people were in the database and what type of products they usually bought. So with these segments in hand, Per and his team started sending much more personalized emails. So, for example, sending out the TV offer did not end up being a TV offer. It ended up being a, super cheap TVs for students, all in high-tech, best you can get, expensive packages for older couples with high purchasing power and kind of kids moved out. And getting this type of personalization in their marketing communication resulted in very nice results. Firstly, the open rates of the emails doubled, which is already nice in itself. But it wasn't just the open rate that doubled, it was the actual conversions from those email campaigns that also doubled after the personalization work was started. So, in summary, if you want similar results as NetOnNet, what do I recommend you to do? I recommend using real data about real people instead of kind of click behaviors and devices. I suggest you combine that with the data you already have within your company to have a full 360-degree view of your customer. in order to do people-based marketing in both online and offline channels. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So thank you very much.